I'll say quickly that when you mentioned that the flying spaghetti monster or whatever, like when I heard that argument and thought about it a little bit, I don't know, I think I heard it a year ago or something. But really, like, because then they say, like, well, we don't have to prove there's a God, because if who's ever making basically this statement is at the burden of proof, who's ever making the positive statement. But really, it's who's ever making the more absurd statement. And so in that case, then you could just go back to, well, actually, I would say you're making the more absurd statement saying there's not a God.
Yeah, and Johnny, I'm gonna take that even one step further, because even the idea of absurdity presupposes a standard of reasonableness.
Sure.
And the atheist doesn't get to judge what's more or less absurd, because they have no ultimate reference point. Remember, the atheist says there's no God, so there is no ultimate reference point by which we judge what's absurd and what's not. I'm gonna say the burden of proof. This idea that only Christians have the burden of proof. Don't ever, please don't ever buy into that. That is, you give that up, you're giving away the farm. Because on what possible ground would the atheist judge who has the burden of proof? What rule book is he playing from? No. The Christian, it's against the rules for the atheist to have the burden of proof. Says who? By what standard, man? The burden of proof, if anybody's got a burden of proof, it's both. Anybody who's making any claim about anything should be able to back it up.
Cool. Great answer.
Yeah. I don't buy that burden of proof deal. And I have atheists tell me all the time, you're shifting the burden of proof. From what to what, man? You live in a shiftless, formless, shapeless universe about which you can know nothing, and yet you're making these hyper rationalistic statements about all of reality, and there are these rules out there about who has the burden of proof. I don't think so. I'm not playing out of your rule book. I reject it out of hand. No, if you're rejecting my Bible, I'm rejecting whatever your rule book is about burden of proof. You're not God. At least my rule book is written by God. You don't even claim that yours is written by God. It's just the way things are. I don't think so.